Yeah.
If he can't go 7 rounds, I'm not gonna be with him. Girl,
firstly, you can't take 7 rounds. Let's just be honest.
This whole idea of like, I'm cutting toxic people out of my life. What if you're the toxic person?
What if it's you?
What if it's you? What if this
you?
whole idea of like leveling up and becoming the best version of yourself and, you know, outgrowing people and suddenly you're better? What if that's just a manifestation of your pride? Relationship goals can compel you into actions that are extremely unhealthy. Understand as a consumer when you're being manipulated. Ooh. This is tight.
Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about relationship goals or relationship woes.
Ooh, not you being a rapper. She's a rapper.
We pushing P.
What is that?
I know. You know what's funny? I don't think that the original creators of such a phrase, no, I think it was, what do you call it? Young Thug and Gunna. They don't know what it means.
Pushing P.
There's been no, like, I've searched Urban Dictionary, the jury's still out. But in today's episode, we are super, super excited because we are going to be talking about relationship goals. We're going to be talking about the perils of idolizing online relationships and not just romantic relationships, even platonic relationships. We going there today. But first, in classic TMS style, we have got a ding ding
dilemma.
I know that's right. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, friend.
First, I'd like to thank you for the big work you are doing. I truly enjoy your podcast full of great lessons. So uplifting every single time I tune in. Please do keep it up.
Oh, thank you.
Teardrop. So I am curious about your thoughts when it comes to a time in life when one knows it's time to cut certain people out of your life.
Oh, not this again.
Oh, girl, you.
Yeah, let's go there.
Or the least limit contact with certain energy draining friends just for the sake of protecting your good energy. This is specifically for those that don't evolve with you any longer, the older that you get, and just happen to be in a different chapter in life. Yeah. There have been times I've tried my best to help out, but yet they show little to no particular interest in looking ahead for the better and seem to be stuck in that comfort zone. For real. Do you guys have any experiences with energy vampires?
Oh, God.
Thank you again.
Not Dracula's.
Did somebody say Bram Stoker up in the building? Somebody say Dracula is giving Twilight.
Dracula. Okay. I think this is a very interesting predicament because we hear it often, right? And it's a fair question to ask. However, I think it's important for us to kind of step back sometimes and evaluate our friendships and evaluate why we are not all ascending at the same pace or to the same place. I think it's easy to get enlightened and decide, okay, I'm doing this with my life, but I think the beauty of sisterhood and the beauty of friendship is getting to do that on a journey with someone. So I think I'm going to flip it on its head because usually I am, you know, and most times you'll get the advice, cut them off, where you're going,
cut
you
it
can
off,
do it
toxic
alone.
people gotta get out.
I pose to you a different thought.
Okay.
I think sometimes having that conversation about where it is you are trying to go and also then inviting people to go there with you is a beautiful way to elevate your friendship, but also take your friendship to a deeper level of journeying with each other. And sometimes your friends aren't going in that direction, not because they don't want to, but maybe they don't know. Like we come from backgrounds where the things we grew up seeing and the things we actually ended up being very different, right? And there were not everyone we grew up with went down a similar path to us. We were very much anomalies, right? And I think sometimes it's easy to be like, I was just the one who wanted to level up and be wise and but actually no, you were the one who was exposed to the alternative first, most likely. And sometimes it's great to then go to your friends and be like, there's actually a different way. Like there's actually there's a way to live that can make us happier, that could make us more fulfilled. And I'm not coming on this condescending tip, but actually let's do this together because I believe that you can have it too if you want it. Now, them expressing that they don't want that life is a completely different situation in itself. But I think one of the issues can be exposure. So do your friends not want to level up? Not because they're evil people, but because They just don't know. Have you tried inspiring your friends, right? Have you tried inspiring them to do more or be more or go on a similar journey to you? Not that you need to enforce it on them, but maybe they just don't know if they have that choice. Oftentimes in these circumstances, we can avoid communicating because we don't want to insult anybody, and we don't want to seem as though we're turning up our nose at anyone or thinking we're better than anybody. But I think it's just to have a genuine conversation that, listen, we're friends, we've been journeying with each other in friendship to this point, and I want to take my life in this direction, but I feel like you are resisting. I feel like you are discouraging me, and put words to it, right? Explain it to them and give them examples. I feel like you're invalidating me. Whatever it may be, find what your emotions are, because going to your friend and being like, you're an energy vampire, that's burning a bridge, babe. That's throwing a bomb and burning a bridge.
That's not even cutting off.
That's a stab in the neck. Like, it's not nice. Do you get what I mean? And I know there's these colloquial terms that you can put to these things, like, oh, burn a bridge, or you're draining my energy and your bad vibes and all of that. But those things don't really mean anything, especially when you say them to people you actually do care about and people who care about you, right? It can just be like, okay, what does that mean? I need examples. I need, like, I want there to be, if it was me on the flip side, if I was the one who somebody considered bad vibes, I would want to know, what did I do? Like, what did I actually do to make you upset? Because I don't want to do that anymore. And I think sometimes we look at these situations of people who might not be on the same page as us and think that they're doing it maliciously. But that's not always the case. Most times that's not the case, right? So I think sitting down and having this conversation and being like, yo, I'm on this journey, and when you said that thing, it made me feel like I couldn't do it. Or when you did that thing, it made me feel as though I was small, or it made me feel insecure. It made me feel as though I should just kind of stop sharing things with you when you didn't like that thing. I've been reading V's book. I just finished reading V's book. Oh, child, I can't believe I finished a real book. Empowered.
That's how you know it's a good book. If Courtney finished it and she enjoyed it.
A great book, like glued to the pages, read it in like 2 days. Such a good book. So Empowered by Vika TV. Go and read it. Go and buy it. Go and get the book. Okay, the book is gonna be a bestseller. I'm gonna need the sisters to run out, because you might see some names. Ring the alarm. It's on the reading list, but I'm reading her book, and she's talking about a time in her life, and I love that we're going to talk about platonic friendships in this episode. She's talking about a time in her life when her and someone she considered her best friend fell out. And they fell out because of distance, and they were distancing over time because they were clearly going down two separate roads. And she had to have this conversation with her friend that said, you don't support everything that I do, and then it doesn't, and that's what makes me feel as though I shouldn't share more with you. So it's not that I'm not allowing you in, it's that I don't feel like you want to be in. Putting those kind of words to your emotions helps somebody understand, okay, this is what I've been doing, and this is where I need to change, should they accept that. Do you know what I mean? The way they respond to it is really not your responsibility, but what is your responsibility is trying to lay it out in a way that actually gives them constructive criticism and allows for the friendship to be repaired if you feel like it can be. So in terms of cutting off toxic people, just be careful throwing a word around that word toxic, because it could just be misunderstanding. It could just be lack of communication. Because I don't want to be, especially in a sisterhood, and I've seen it happen like with different women in my life. Women can change friends very often.
They do.
You just jump to a new friend and I've got a new bestie, I've got a new bestie, I've got a new bestie. Not every moment in your relationships with your besties is going to be fun. Do you get what I mean? And sometimes it's going to feel like you're not going to be on the same page. The word is travail. Tarry. Keep going. Love when it's hard. And sometimes these can be indicators in our friendship that it's hard to love you right now because it feels like we're not on the same page. But do I feel like it's worth being on the same page with you? Because I think it's easy to glamorize cutting off. People are toxic. People are narcissistic. The world doesn't revolve around you and your leveling up journey. Sometimes it takes a clear conversation with someone to be like, I know you may not be as obsessed about this as I am, and it may change the nature of our friendship a little bit, but let's see what the new friendship dynamic actually is now, and let's both be on the same page as that. Unless they are doing something which is explicitly or even implicitly abusive or horrendous.
Abusive.
Do you get what I mean? Or malicious, or they are trying to gaslight you or make you feel as though you are the problem here. That's when you step out of a situation. That's when a situation becomes toxic. So I would want to know more about what have they specifically done that has made you label them an energy vampire.
I love it.
That's what I'd say. Sorry, I've rambled on because I was trying to find what I'm actually trying to say.
In fact, I think we need to get rid of that whole term of like rambling on, because I think you are just spitting facts upon facts upon facts. I love the fact, I think this dilemma even ties in so well into this conversation.
Very good.
That was unintentional, baby. But you know, we storytellers around these parts, #narrative.
The last two have actually been really good segue dilemmas. Yeah.
Right. Very good. God, we're really doing well over here storyboarding. But no, I love everything that you said, because especially what you were saying about travailing, right? I think we've definitely come into a generation where we're now challenging, you know, this whole idea of like tarrying on in abusive situations. Yeah. But I think sometimes in every kind of generation, we often take it to the extremes and we forget the importance of travailing in relationships, 100%. Right? And I think it's also important that we often think of travailing in relationships, in romantic relationships, but when it comes to friendships, sometimes that just doesn't apply, which is really interesting. And you'd think that you would want that kind of. Relationships are hard. Yes. The bottom line is relationships are hard. There's no relationship that is easy.
That's all.
And I understand that, you know, in the fulfilling relationships that you have, you know, we have this idea that it's meant to feel nice and joyful and happy and all that kind of stuff. Yes, majority of the times you should be feeling, you know, fulfilled in a relationship. Yeah. But much like the world, things are not always going to go your way. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be times when things happen at different paces. There's going to be new things that life challenges the both of you or the group of you at the same time. And this can cause misunderstandings which come under the guise of toxicity. And it's like sometimes you need to, as the friend, really sit down with both, not the person, but also yourself and challenge, what is it here that is actually toxic? What am I labeling here that is toxic? So I love that you also mentioned the fact that, you know, without the specific details of behavior or, you know, specific actions that are being done over time, it's hard to say, cut this person off because they're toxic. It's always going to be complicated. And this whole idea of like leveling up in the comfort zone, because we have glamorized the leveling up that is, you know, independent. We always think of ourselves, you know, we think of ourselves as like the Lone Ranger going up and, you know, leaving everybody that's dragging us down behind. When these people could be really important supporters of your journey. When I think about the time that we were applying to like Oxford and Cambridge, of course, like within our friendship groups, within our communities, this was something that was different. But there's certain things that we could not have done if we didn't have the support of people that had no intention of absolutely of going to these places. Absolutely not. And the same for like various other things that we are doing in our life, you know, like even with To My Sisters. Most of our friends don't have a podcast. Most of our friends, which is good because some of y'all need to stop having podcasts. Especially the man there. But you guys have been beaten up a lot over the past 2 weeks. So we'll put that one down.
That's why I didn't release that TMS extra, you know.
Is it?
I just thought, let's wait for I don't want to add to the
fire.
Yeah, do you get what I mean? The fire's hot.
Oh, they've been beaten over the head with the bats. So we'll leave that point alone. But there are things in your life that you are going to be doing that you consider part of your leveling up journey. Just because somebody is not leveling up with you in this specific area doesn't necessarily mean they're not leveling up. 100%. It just means that their journey looks different to yours. And sometimes we need to get out of our head in thinking that leveling up always is one dimensional. As long as there is some kind of like desire for progress in the things that they're doing, or even then, sometimes we just need to mind our own business and be supportive, point blank, period. Because while some of us may be ambitious, I want to be a millionaire, I want to do and it's cool, get people around you that you think are within that network and within that, you know, realm of wanting to do that kind of stuff. But it's important to diversify your 100%. Friends, and it's important to actually be around people who don't want that for their lives. That's and okay.
Not impose that.
Precisely. And like we have this idea of, you know, the average lifestyle. Why do you want to be average? Well, average is nice, comfortable,
and you know what? I love this point so much because I was actually the bad person in that kind of scenario, because I've always been aim high, and my parents have always pushed, aim for the stars, do this, you can go far, you can go far. And one of the biggest supporters of my journey in life so far is my actual sister, right? My blood sister. MJ is one of the biggest supporters in my life, right? And obviously grew up, she's my sister. But we are very different people. And for a long time, I'm a very risk taker, go for like just insane stuff. MJ's like, no.
It's like, no, I don't have to.
I know what I want, and I'm going for that. And it looks very different to mine. And for a long time, situations would pose us against each other, right? These two sisters who, why aren't you doing that? Why? Because mine looked the more glamorous, right? I wouldn't even say it looked the most ambitious. I would say it just looked the more glamorous. And for her, I was like, that's not what I want for my life, right? And she so graciously was able to support me, even though for a long time, people and even myself would be like, why don't you try what I'm doing? Why don't you go on this lane? And she just like, no, that's your glow and grow. That's what it looks like on you. My glow and grow is completely different. The formula that makes my life work and flourish is completely different to yours, right? Stop imposing this on me. And it actually started to cause rifts in our relationship. And those rifts could easily have been called jealousy. Those rifts could easily have been called comparison and sisterhood envy kind of creeping in, when it wasn't that at all. It was not allowing both of us to flourish where we were planted. That's what happens when you start to force somebody to grow where you're planted. That's how weeds and entangling start forming, and both of you just get choked. And it was choking our relationship, trying to force each other to mesh into the same lane. So I love that you mentioned that, because sometimes in our glow and grow journey, let me just keep it 100, let me keep it a book. Sometimes we use I'm leveling up as a little bit of a badge of pride. I'm healing. I'm better than you.
Oh.
Do you get what I mean?
I'm glowing. You're not growing.
You're not growing. It's giving a little bit of cliquet. Do they call it cliquet? And so I think it's important. I'm not saying this is a sisterhood dilemma. I'm just saying this more generally. Don't use your decision to level up as a one-up on your sister. Like, everyone is at a different stage, and also leveling up, like you so perfectly said, looks very different for everybody. But yeah, sorry to have interrupted.
Oh no, you're totally fine. And it's actually fine to have different types of friends. Okay, that's also another thing. The world pits us against each other enough. Yes, we don't need to bring that kind of behavior here at all in this sisterhood. Yes, work together. Yes, encourage each other. Yes, push each other to be ambitious. But we also need to be respectful of the fact that everyone has a different vision. There are multiple visions within the collective vision. And the collective vision is one that underpins everybody else's vision. So I think sometimes there's a balance we have to what's the word? Traipse on what's the thing? God, English. Yes. We have to traipse on the tightrope carefully between imposing and supporting. And yeah, just this whole idea of like, I'm cutting toxic people out of my life. What if you're the toxic person?
What if it's you?
What if it's you? What if this whole idea of like leveling up and becoming the best version of yourself and, you know, outgrowing people and suddenly you're better? What if that's just a manifestation of your pride?
You know we don't,
because you're not meant to level up alone.
Come on.
Having said that, of course, if you're seeing any abusive behavior, sis, cut that 100%. out. Cut that out 100%. Like moldy bread. Okay, we ain't getting no blue spots here. In fact, technically, you're meant to actually throw the entire bread.
Yeah, but I was about to say that's how we grow up a little bit with the struggle, because when you see mold, you just take the slices that have been affected, you put it in the bit. The ones that have speckles, you just pick it. You still got toast. You put it in the toaster. Those red lights kill the bacteria.
Fine. Everything is fine. So that's how you know that hood poverty be killing the people.
Call it hood poverty.
When I did went to go and do, I was watching infographic show, and they were like, "Oh,
that could kill you."
They said, respectfully, if you see even a speckle, if you see a speckle of blue, you put that thing in the bin.
You know potatoes, if you see the green, you know potatoes start growing like
don't kill me now. Don't kill me. Don't kill me now.
Yeah, you're meant to, you throw the whole, don't just cut it off, you throw the whole potato
I'm literally
away.
dead right now. I don't understand. I'm
so sorry, but
miracle.
those are the people who say that shop at Waitrose. I'm sorry.
That's true.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's so tangential. But I was talking to Courtney earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, about the first time going to Waitrose.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so like, this is overwhelming. For those of you who don't live in a country that has Waitrose, it's basically like a really fancy grocery store, like the upper end. What's like the equivalent in the States?
What's the States equivalent?
Maybe CVS? No, but CVS is the one.
Maybe like Trader Joe's, like somewhere where like
you get that fresh fruit.
You get fresh. It's like
the market
just
stuff.
Imagine designer but food.
Yeah. I went in there, I was like, wow, everything is actually pretty nice. It's really fresh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you know we be, what is it, growing and glowing in the grocery department.
We literally just entered a new tax bracket. That's how you know we are new here. You don't go here, clearly.
Oh, you don't go here. My peanut butter is whole earth. Thank you very much. Whole earth. My food is branded
it's
now.
Actually made just from peanuts. That's how you know.
Thank you. We have no saturated. Well, anyways, it's bougie with a little bit of hood.
Oil.
Fam. Because there's certain foods that we still know. In fact, majority of the.
I was so close to getting chicken and chips yesterday when I went to my mom's house, but they don't be using real chickens. But that's another scandal for itself.
Let's not even talk about that one.
That's a Netflix doc.
That is. That's an expose. That's panorama. People are going to jail for they put in that chicken and chip box.
Panorama. That is watchdog energy.
There is a chicken shortage at the moment. How is it that we are getting chicken and chips for like $1.99?
And I've been seeing less pigeons on the street.
Oh, no.
The pigeons ain't been out like they used to be. I don't know if they've all got to Trafalgar Square.
I know in like certain countries you can eat pigeons, not in the UK. The UK pigeons, they what they eat is trash. Anyways, we really got off on a tangent, but
that is so funny.
Moral of the story is go to Waitrose. No, I'm kidding. We still
Waitrose
go to Lidl.
Sponsor us though.
Oh, Waitrose, honey. And listen, we be cooking out here. Ooh. Lidl, Aldi, we still are very fond of you.
Yes,
in fact,
of course.
we go there weekly. Y'all are just the best. But I feel like there's certain items that I'm like, it's gotta be.
Just need something.
Do you know what? For me, it's like ice cream. You already know my ice cream addiction to Halo Top. But anyways, coming back to the meat and bones of the podcast, the dilemma. Sis, I think without specifics, we would say reserve judgment and try to work this out as much as possible before cutting people off. Really think about the dynamics of your friendship. Really think about, is it, an ambition misalignment? Is it a misunderstanding? Or is it a fundamental friendship flaw that you can't overcome? And also, whilst you're doing that, take a long, hard look in the mirror and try to understand whether your ambitions or whether the way that you view yourself, albeit, we're all about being confident and going for what you deserve and what you desire, how much is this impacting the way that you engage with other people that have different ambitions to yourself? So even reconceptualizing the comfort zone, what does that actually look like? What does that feel like? And are you imposing or are you supporting? So really asking yourself those deep questions are really, really important. And we definitely, just to answer the very last bit of your dilemma insofar as have you had experience with energy vampires? 110%. I think there's two kind of ways of thinking of energy vampires, in my opinion. Every relationship that you get into will not be 50-50 all the time. Yeah. There will be periods and seasons in your life where you are going to have to carry. Yeah. And there will be periods and seasons in your life where your friend is going to have to carry you by holding you by the tip of your hair, like you're about to snip off. So I wouldn't even say energy vampires. I would just say that the distribution of energy can sometimes fluctuate. Because that's normal for relationships. 100%. It's about zooming out and looking at the graph when you zoom out and seeing, is this, being distributed? Right. Thing? Are you carrying the entire thing or not? And then, of course, there's the flat out energy vampires, the ones that, the people that actually come to you because they need something, right? It's always.
I was going to say, a good way to protect yourself from energy vampires isn't to cut people off, but it's to conceptualize your friendship in different boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone is gonna be your best friend. Not everyone is gonna be in your squad. Except that a lot of the people you call friends are your acquaintances. And like a lot of us, because we've mislabeled them, we think they're sucking our energy. No, they're coming to you just for stuff because they don't want to be your friend. They want to be your acquaintance. They think what you're doing is cool, and they think you're a great person. And now all they want to do is come to ask you questions, right? For a lot of, and that's that. And you have to accept that. You can't have that relationship with everyone either. You need some people who bring depth and pour into you as well. So it's striking the balance, but also calling things what they are, right? If someone is an acquaintance, if you put that label of friend or best friend or sister on them, you are inevitably going to be disappointed if you're not both on the same page. So feel comfortable putting people on the outer circle. Like just feel comfortable with doing that.
They don't belong here, and that's okay.
It's fine.
Not everybody has to be on the inside.
Come on.
You know when recording artists, when they're about to hit the... But sis, we wish you love and a lot of luck in these kind of endeavors. These things are not easy, and they're not meant to be easy. But we're wishing you all the best. And we hope that you being plugged into TMS is actually an opportunity for you to continue to be around people that don't suck your energy, but are interested in reciprocal, flourishing, thriving friendship and thriving sisterhoods. So I want to enter this conversation a little bit differently.
Okay.
Typically, I love to, in terms of structure, I'm a structured babe. I like the whole, define them online relationships and all that kind of stuff. What I want to start with today is there an online relationship or online relationships that you have idolized in the past?
Have I idolized anyone's online relationship in the past?
Anyone you've been heavily invested in? Or rather, any two, any three?
I've been heavily... I used to love DK for L. But I've never, ever had relationship goals. Ever. Yeah. Maybe it's because I saw a lot of like dysfunctional relationships, or I saw the truth of what can happen behind closed doors. I never, ever have assumed that anyone's relationship is perfect or can be perfect. I always had that resolve in my heart. No one's relationship is perfect. And also... even when it comes to people, I am a very realistic person. Like that person has a bad side. Don't care how smiley you are. Don't care how like positive and optimistic and chirpy you are on the outside. Don't care about your videos. I just know. No, because people create brands around themselves or their relationships. But the reality of the situation is we are all human, right? Like you guys watch us, you love us. But we have flaws. We are flawed people, and different people in our life see those flaws. So knowing that, I could never make anyone my relationship goal because you're just as flawed as I am. And that's fine. Like, that's actually okay, you know? So being invested in a relationship, like I love love. I love watching people like happy, and I'm trying to think of like somebody who I was obsessed with, but it's Judy Time on YouTube.
Nice.
Her and her husband and her kids, Benji and the kids, her girls. I was invested in them for a long time, like just watching them repeatedly. But again, like no one has ever been on a pedestal or an idol or been an idol for me. I don't think. I hope not. I don't think so. How about you?
Oh, nice. I'll admit I was a little bit late to the DK.
I was late too, but I'm just an obsessive person.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. But then when I hopped on, I was like, oh my God, DK
they were fun.
DK for life. It was a rock star. I was invested in them, and then I kind of stopped being invested because I just got obsessed with something new.
I hear it.
So they were definitely one for me. I was definitely like more of a fantasy babe growing up. So I was on Tumblr and stuff like that. You'll see them images of like those Tumblr babes with their tatted their tatted counterpart with his snapback and everything. And I used to want to want to be one of those babes that takes those really cute photos on the MacBook with the tatted snapback, handsome individual. Who else? Is her name Chrissy Ann? They were a Canadian couple that were doing long distance. This was back in the day, like 2000s. They were doing long distance, and then they finally met in person.
Beautiful.
I was like, oh my God. But then my heart broke when we all found out that he cheated on her. Yeah, it was tight, man. It's tight, super tight. This is the thing. After that, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I support it,
Never
but
again.
you know, I'm not gonna be
Never
invested because I have my heart
again.
broken to bits. When I saw that, I was like, damn. So yeah, that's what I would say insofar as like relationship goals. But yeah, I don't think I've ever looked at someone and thought, I want to be exactly like you. I love it. I do think there's something to be said around, like, sometimes I'll see relationships and I'm like in the past, I'll be like, oh, this is beautiful. It looks like they're having a great time. I too would like that for myself. But like now, as I've grown older, I've become a lot more cynical. Yeah. And like being and hearing the press all the time of this couple has just split up, or this couple has just got a divorce, or this couple is just, I'm just like, I'm a little bit disillusioned right now when it comes to seeing celebrity relationships, that is. And is there, I'm trying to think of if there's any like friend relationships that I've seen that I'm kind of like, oh, I love what you guys have. Love it.
I really love the relationship between Oprah and Gail. I love that. I think being able to like journey with someone for such a long time, be in a relationship with them for such a long time, and then see them blow. Both of you blow, like both of you do amazing, but one blows more than the other. Like, how do you handle that in your friendship dynamic? And I think it's been done with so much like grace and elegance, and just as an example of how friendship should be done. Like, it doesn't come down to the accolades, it really comes down to the partnership and the friendship. Who else do I really admire in terms of friendship and like sisterhood? Venus and Serena Williams.
Oh yeah, they're a pair, aren't they?
Oh my god,
cool. They are a pair.
Oh my goodness,
they are a pair.
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah. That's like my woo.
That even reminds me. There was a point where I was like, oh, I love me a bit of Michelle and Barack. But then I started watching Scandal.
Girl, nothing is in politics. No relationship is ever straightforward.
I started watching Scandal. I said, Barack, what you got in their closet? What you got in their closet, honey?
But they had a lot of pressure. I love Barack and Michelle too. Oh, the Obamas. And to be honest, they are such a positive example. Like what we are able to see, it appears as a very positive example, right? And I do accept it as such. But again, it comes down to this nitty gritty of, I don't think anyone, no matter how positive, no matter how polished, and exemplary they are, I don't think they should be your relationship goal or your relationship idol. I think you can draw inspiration from them. And I recently did a chit chat, get ready with me, on this very topic on my channel, talking about how I think it's nice to take inspiration and, you know, look at what other people have done in their relationship and say, how can I look at that and implement it into my life that makes it fit my journey and my way, and kind of recustomize things a little bit. But I don't think anyone's play for play relationship will ever be like yours.
For sure.
And you've got to accept that.
Also, a quick plug for Miss Courtney's YouTube channel. I know she ain't trying to do that, but girl, you know,
subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, you better not even you can. It's mandatory. But no, definitely, I definitely hear that. I think it's a nice way into the whole discussion around relationship goals. Should we ever have them, and in what context can they actually be helpful?
If you didn't grow up seeing healthy relationship and you have never seen an example of a healthy relationship in your real life, I think, and I talk about relationship goals specifically in the context of social media, because it is very much #relationship goals. However, you can actually have relationship goals with people you have in your real life, and I think that's actually more healthy for you than having parasocial relationships with people who are in relationships and kind of idolizing them and seeking wisdom from them all the time. I think it's good to get that picturesque inspiration, the date night ideas, the conflict resolution ideas, and people sharing their journey of, we tried this, we tried that, this is what we did for our anniversary. I think those things can be cute. However, I think having in real life examples of people whose ups and downs you can see, like both of those very contrasting situations and circumstances, I think it's important to have people who you can see at their best and their worst, right? And so having in real life relationship goals or in real life relationship examples, I think is way more healthy for you. especially if you didn't grow up seeing that maybe from your own household or in your own family, it would be nice to draw on external examples to show you, it is possible, but also to help you navigate a very challenging field of work, which is relationships. I do think, however, in the way that relationship goals have been done recently, and I think the negatives that we see around it, I think we need to be careful because it can easily lead to comparison, jealousy, belittling the person that you are in a relationship with. Why don't you act like this person? Yeah. Why don't you look like this person? Ooh. Why don't you talk like this person? Why don't you act like this? And it's kind of a cop-out because you're trying to fit this. We talked about this before, right? The first relationship goals is definitely Disney, right? Like Disney and their princess movies, like absolutely love Disney, but like the princess complex, right? The Disney complex of where's my Prince Charming in our case, or, you know, this is what being the perfect person looks like, and this is what the perfect love story looks like, right? And you can get it from books and just fantasy in general. It makes you fantasize about what your life and your love story should be. And as you then get older and you hold on to those ideas, if they don't get smashed by reality, mate, even if they do though, you kind of have it inside of your heart that kind of, even though things haven't been great for me, I'm gonna find something perfect, that Cinderella complex. And then someone comes along and you just want them to fit into the fantasy you already have, right? It's relationship goals already. That's what relationship goals done. I've seen this person on social media. I've been following them for a long time. The man that comes to me or the friend that comes to me, I just want them to fit into the image I already have. I'm already playing my life out in my head. I just need you to take up the role. What's
the problem?
The issue isn't you. You just got to act. Okay. Like I'm not here for you who you truly are. You're an actor. Okay. In my own fantasy, crazy. Whether you are my friend, my partner, wherever it may be. And so I think navigating relationship goals, you have to be very careful about not creating these templates or these ideas in your mind that you make other people conform to, because relationships really are all about the challenge to love somebody who doesn't conform to your idea of perfection, because no one is perfect, right? So journeying with a friend, journeying with a partner, yes, you can have these examples, but examples aren't, you're not meant to replicate examples, you know? That's what I'd say.
I love that. You? I absolutely love that. Upvote on if you have 0 examples of healthy relationships, by all means, find some kind of like,
you need some
indicators, right? Some indicators of what healthy relationships can look like. And I say that with reference to variety as well, because I think sometimes the problem that I find with relationship goals is the entire pivot is around romantic relationships. 100%. And we often forget that we do need to set standards for our platonic relationships, for our parental relationships, for our professional relationships. So if we have multiple reference points, it's kind of like when you're writing an essay is made stronger by the amount of references that you have. It's made stronger by the amount of, you know, different sources that you actually draw from. So sometimes relationship goals can be really toxic because our reference point is that of one, and that's of a very specific one, romantic. And I also love the fact that you touched on the princess, the Disney complex, right? This whole idea that we're waiting for this there's a lot of like social reinforcement, and it really strips away your agency when it comes to defining what a healthy relationship looks like for you and with you in it, because sometimes we can often idolize relationship goals with us apart from that building, right? So we now think that, you know, we're the girl in the relationship goals and we just need to find the right guy without doing any work on our part. Well, Missy, the girl in the photos that you see doesn't look like you, doesn't sound like you, and doesn't even think like 100%. You. What makes you think that the only work that needs to be done is finding the correct guy and not becoming the correct woman? 100%. So it's that assumption as well. There's just so many issues, the lack of variety, the lack of like critical engagement with these relationship goals. And then because we have such high expectations for relationship goals, when they don't fit our preconceived notion of how that goal is meant to play out or that relationship is meant to play out, suddenly it's I don't believe in love anymore. Every time we see a divorce, every time we see a breakup, it's I don't believe in love anymore. God. And I'm gonna be a spinster for the rest of my life.
And it's like, guys, don't be so stupid. Like, you can't put all of your hope on somebody who you don't know.
They don't know
you don't know them. They don't know you. They're not, hopefully, they're not living out there. Hopefully, because in the age of social media, you don't know people's intentions and their motives. They are not living out their relationship to please you. Right? They are living out their relationship to hopefully make it work, right? And then if it doesn't work, if they not necessarily fail, but if the challenge is they just can't make it work for whatever reason, what's that got to do with you? Bro. I know you are right. And this is why I think relationship goals can be dangerous, because again, relationships then become a commodity. And commodities are all about perfect items which are presented to solve a problem that you have in your life. Someone else's relationship isn't going to solve any problem you have in your life. Ugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, it becomes a commodity for entertainment, but you can't then use that entertainment as my whole hope is riding on you. It's like, for example, when we watch things like Scandal and stuff. Yeah. You might love Olivia Pope, but you know it's fiction, right? And whilst, yes, social media is inspiring and it appears as reality, it's still a constructed reality. And so you have to be careful how much hope you put on that. Because if you put all your hope on Olivia Pope because she's just boss ass girl, I'm not gonna lie to you, a couple things happened to her in Scandal that you...
let's run with that example, because those that have been watching me on social media know that I've been obsessed with calling out the nonsense of Scandal recently, because some of you guys are trifling and you've had no one to tell you.
You are actually so funny when I see your stories. I'm like,
hey, I have been blocking left, right and centre all you lots that are backing Fitzgerald Grant. No, we're gonna get into it in a second. Wait for me. I love that you put that point out there, because like, building off of that point, relationship goals can compel you into actions that are extremely unhealthy and put you in dangerous situations because you think that this is all part of the wider love story, the narrative, the constructed fiction. So struggle love, right? You know, we gotta travail even though this man is an abuser or this lady is an abuser, or so whoever is an abuser. There's extramarital affairs that's been glamorized because relationship goals, which is why I say scandalous. He's scandalous, okay? That's not juicy, that's scandalous, okay? Scandal, the perfume, the scent is scandal, okay? Because we have this idea of, you know, this macho, this love story, this, you know, Fitzgerald and Olivia, but Fitzgerald is married with 3 kids. And he has been for the past decade. And this kind of thinking, and this is very extreme, of course, and it's dependent on the kind of person you are. But sometimes we think that because of the kind of person we are, we become prideful into thinking that we'd never act in a certain way. But baby, if the conditions are right, you would fall.
We always say you just haven't been put in the right situation.
You haven't been put in the right situation. So this whole love story, this whole, you know, stepping out on a relationship because you're convinced, even like some of the things that we say, right? Don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband. And we Christians here.
Oh, if I ever see my next partner have retweeted, "Don't let your girlfriend stop you from finding your wife," well, you about to meet Jesus. You just go to the final boss.
Forget wife. I'm gonna hot foot you to the Lord.
100%. Go and meet your bridegroom. Go meet your
bride of Christ. You ain't getting the bride. You gonna be the bride of Christ.
100%.
Up heaven above.
Because you are acting up.
Acting up. So these kind of things can sometimes compel us, or, you know, add fuel to the fire that these things are okay. Yeah. And even some relationship goals that we've normalized are very unhealthy. So, you know, all these rappers that be out here stepping out on relationship. Ride or die. Guess what? I am neither riding nor dying. Neither of the two.
My mother has labored. She will not labor in vain.
My mom did not give birth to a fool. At all. That's for sure. I ain't a fool.
Nope.
So this whole idea of, you know, adulterous love, you know, hypersexualized love as well. Very unrealistic standards that we're putting on relationships too. If he can't go 7 rounds, I'm not gonna be with him. Girl,
firstly, you can't take 7 rounds. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest.
You huffing and puffing when you on top, girl.
Some of us are vixens in our minds.
You know what I mean?
We can barely climb the stairs. You talk about 7 rounds. I need to see you on a morning jog. Let's be honest.
Because you have to match, innit? You can't be out here saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. Baby.
You have to be honest,
Baby,
man.
you can't squat past parallel.
That's the thing, like a lot of, and this is the issue with like relationship goals and romantic images and even pornography, right? Because you get these ideas and these images of what you think should be normal, and then you try to impose them in your life, and you can't even match up. And now you have insecurities, or now you've gone and given this person a false idea of who you are. And they've also done the same to you. So now you are with a stranger and they are with a stranger. It can't work. It cannot work.
It can't.
It can't.
And these, we very much need to inspect who are the people that we tout as like relationship goals. How do we interact with them? And it even begs my next question, which is around the parameters of relationship goals and parasocial relationships. So one of the offsprings of relationship goals, and I guess just social media in general, is once you put it out there, people are entitled to it. To what extent do you think that this is true for relationships? And what are the dangers when we do not, or rather, what are the dangers that appear when we allow online accountability to go unchecked?
So
alleged accountability, that is.
I think unfortunately this happens because, like we said, we love. And so when you see a relationship, you become invested in it. Like when you see anyone and they're on a journey or they're doing something you find inspirational or interesting, you become invested in it. And now, like you said, you can become entitled to receiving updates, to holding that person accountable, and to a degree having an input on the direction of where that relationship goes. What you need to be careful about is realizing that relationships, and romantic relationships specifically, but even platonic relationships, aren't to be done for audience sake. A lot of marriages were actually saved by the fact that, and hear me out, don't hear what I'm not saying, that a lot of things were able to be dealt with in private, right? Or within the confines of a trusted but very small privileged circle of people who could be aware of what was happening in the intimacies of that marriage, right? Or that relationship, or in that friendship. If we're having a problem as friends, we go to our immediate friends who have access to that. We don't go and vlog about it. Do you get what I mean? If I'm having a problem with my partner, I need to go to our counselor, or I need to go to maybe our pastor. I need to go to our parents. I don't need to do indirect tweets. And I'm not saying this to police what anybody does. You do you, boo. However, I think it can be the reason why people can become entitled is because we drop the boundaries down so that they can have a front row seat to our relationships. But relationships aren't necessarily meant for audiences because they're not performances.
There we go.
They are fields of work. And when you're working, you don't necessarily need an audience, right?
Oh, excellent.
Unless you're performing. That's what you need an audience for. And then relationships become performative. A lot of the relationships that we see on social media become performative. They don't necessarily love each other. They're not necessarily trying to know each other better. They're trying to take their relationships on a story arc, which is entertaining, rather than actually on a journey, which is transforming, right? That's where we need to be careful when we are, as viewers of relationships or friendships, to really give people their space and their boundaries. But sometimes that can be hard when they have kind of given you room to give your opinion, to give your input, to give your judgment. Oh, why did he talk to you like that in this video? Is there issues in your relationship? Why did she say that? Are you too upset? Is something going on? And then you have people in your partner's DMs talking about she shouldn't have spoken about you. Are you happy with that picture she posted? And these are real things that are happening. Real things. I don't think you two suit each other. What's that got to do with you?
That's even how one highlight will enter you.
Well, enter. Do you get what I mean? And then you're here talking about my man cheated on me with a subscriber.
Bruh. Because this happened.
I'm not victim blaming. I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm saying these things can easily happen when the nature of your relationship is to let everybody in. Like there's this, when people talk about like boundaries, there's this analogy that they give in your house of a house, right? There are people you let stand on the street outside. There are people. No, we got to start. How far? Exactly. You got. Excuse me. Back it up.
Back up.
Get off my land.
I don't even want to see you.
Do you get what I mean? You can walk by.
Don't be in my line of vision. Don't be in my line of
If you
vision.
stand on my grass, I'm calling the police. That's just, there are people you want on the outside.
Yep.
There are people you can allow on your porch
Yep.
or in your front garden.
Yep.
There are people who you will allow in the hallway. There are people who you will let come into the living room. It's not everyone that you let into your kitchen, and it's certainly not everybody who you let into your bedroom.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yep.
And I think when it comes down to relationships, with the level of I think relationship goals can sometimes cheapen the magnitude and the depths of what a relationship, especially a romantic one, is, right? And our generation in general is losing that kind of, I would say, respect for relationships, and we're attaching less weight to it, and I think it can be dangerous, because then we start cheapening it and we start treating it as if it is, a relationship is not something that is very precious to be protected, right? And that's not to say keep your secrets and stuff, but I don't know about y'all, but when I'm going through issues with anybody, it ain't everybody I can talk to it about. It's like, I can't talk about it with everybody. Relationships in your problems in your romantic relationship, it's not everyone who should know. Do you know what I mean? But when you live in a social media world, the reason why people become entitled is because you let them know. Now they're in. Once you get me in your bedroom, I ain't stepping out. I like what I'm seeing here. This is juicy.
As your auntie,
100%.
your counselor,
and I'm here to give my opinion.
Accountability. That's the thing. I think a lot of people have misunderstood that accountability is not always opinion, or opinion is not. Your opinion does not always constitute as accountability.
And also, accountability isn't something that just happened. It's something that is welcomed.
Oh,
if I ain't asked you to hold me accountable just because I showed it to you, don't ask me about it.
Bruh. Unless there's abuse going on, or unless there's actually
100%.
some level of like toxicity that is necessary. Because I do think there's something to be said about leveraging the fact that some relationships are seen online. Yeah. It does help a lot of women that are in abusive or toxic situations actually find community and people to kind of like engage with and offer support and all of that kind of stuff. Social media, online kind of stuff in general, great connector. Yeah. But when it's the, you know, the pretty little comments, when it's the I'm minding my business and you've come to tell me that, you know, you think my husband is hot and you think I'm butters, or vice versa, or like, you could do better. Why did you even have to? If it's something you could not say to my face as well, that's another thing. If you can't say it to my face, I don't want to hear it. And I mean my face, look me in my eye.
Look me in my eye and say it to me with your chest. What? Yeah. A lot of people, guys, like, I love that accountability point that you mentioned, but a lot of people, guys, snarky, prideful comments as accountable. I'm just looking out for you, sis. No, you're not. Because you actually don't care. Like, a lot of people, they don't care as much as they are suggesting that they do, because why have you posed this comment as something to hurt my feelings? Why couldn't you message me privately?
That's another
does this have to be done publicly?
People always do this in public. And you know what's even funny? Again, we're Christians, but it's actually a biblical principle to engage with your brother privately first.
And even if you are going to take it a step further, bring 1 or 2 highly regarded elders, people who are like with wisdom and respect. It ain't everybody who got wisdom or respect.
Some people are severely lacking at both. Severely.
I don't need your advice. Respectfully.
And I don't want it either. This is between me and mine. The people. Or if it is a concern, well, maybe flag it in private that they should go and engage with people within their close circle about these issues. Yeah. Don't be out here calling people out and, you know, all this kind of stuff without understanding that the person you're engaging with is human. Yeah. Granted, there does need to be something said around the fact that content creators, social media, you know, vixens and all that kind of stuff.
Not vixens.
Vixens, because if you are going to air your ass online, you got to be prepared to deal with the frostbite.
Oh, come on.
If you air it
you're
outside,
going to get cold.
You're going to get cold outside. It's windy. Your ass cheeks are outside.
A little bit of frost. It's true.
It's sad. And I think, you know, a lot of the sisters that listen to this podcast are respectable, highly regarded women of class and dignity, such that when you see dirty laundry, you keep it a buck and you move on.
100%.
You might do a little, Oh, girl, that was bad, but I'm
Yeah,
going to mind my business. And I wish you all the best. I pray for you in my secret time.
100%.
There are not all sisters that are like that. There are some sisters that will use you airing your ass cheeks as an opportunity to catch you slipping and to laugh, to air your nonsense even further.
Yes.
There's basically, as a social media or content creator or as a producer, you should always be aware that there's going to be people that will not receive you well.
100%.
And because a relationship, I mean, this is something that we get, right? We put our relationship online to an extent.
Yeah.
In the sense that we want to make sure that we can use our experiences, not necessarily just our relationship, but our experiences, us, you know, glowing and growing. Oh my God. As a basis for which other people can have long, hard conversations and with themselves, but also with other people and their friends and sisters. That comes with its consequences, right? That comes with the fact that, you know, we've had to deal with changes in our relationship. That comes with the consequence of understanding that there are people that listen or watch us that don't like us. There are people that, you know, will put, for every 101 or 1,001 positive comments, there's going to be negative comments. There's going to be folks, you know, who are in group chats that will be saying, I don't like this person. I don't like this sister. She's chatting again about something she doesn't know anything about. There's going to be, you know, a hater. There's going to be folks that will smile in your face, that low key in the back of their mind, they think you crazy and I hate you. And that comes with the job. So I do think there's something to be said about social media, content creators, even you people that have like social media just in general. You're not necessarily looking to become a celebrity or like create content for like mass public consumption. You are creating something for consumption. You have to be aware that when you put things out there, you cannot control the response. You can't. And you have to make your peace with that.
Yeah, but you can control the story.
Precisely.
And as a content producer, as somebody who is very much so into storytelling, and you too, as a creator, know your message and stick to it. Know your values and stick to it. I'm not saying to niche down. That's not what I'm saying. That's a marketing conversation. What I'm talking about is for yourself. Who are you? What are you trying to share and stick with that? Do not ever create with the mindset of what is going to get views. What are people going to approve of? Let everything you do and the way you construct things be driven from an internal motivation and internal understanding and a whole bunch of self-awareness, right? Because everything that you produce, you're producing it. You're in control. But once it gets out there, the reception,
that's it.
Like you said, you cannot control that at all, right? This is why these movie studios spend years planning, scripting, editing, casting, actually spending a lot of time to construct something they consider to be perfect before they release it. But once this released, there's always going to be someone who's got boo, tomatoes, 0 stars, okay? And they can't do anything about it, but at least they know they gave it their all, and more importantly, they told the story they wanted to tell in the way that they wanted to tell it. And so I have a big heart for creators as well. I think it's important for you to know you are in control of the story and the narrative here. You are in control of how much access you give people. As somebody who is very transparent online about their relationships and about their experiences, I am very conscious of, you only know about me what I want you to know about me.
And you know what? We're flowing. We're flowing. We're flowing. We're flowing. We're flowing. Oh my gosh, how gracious. That literally makes me think of the fact that understand that because there are, you know, when the nature of content creation is such that you control the narrative, understand as a consumer when you're being manipulated. This is tight. Bear with me. There are some folks that create content for your consumption because they intend to manipulate you. They want you to believe honestly, they want you to believe certain narratives, certain agendas, so they can market to you. And not in a way that's like, you know, I'm actively just trying to, you know, create communities and stuff like that. They're trying to market to you because they want your money. They're not, you know, working towards the betterment of relationships. They're literally, you know, milking the cash cow. How many like fake pseudo relationships have we seen break down? It's because they were never real
relationship gurus. The creation, listen, narratives, every good thing
can become bad when wielded unwisely.
Come on.
There are many people who are wielding relationship goals, #relationship goals, as a tool to give out bad advice. There are many people who are, using this as a means to increase their influence, increase their notoriety, increase their, fame. They do these things on purpose. There are people who are in fake relationships because they've got a new movie coming out. There are people who are in fake relationships because they've got their mixtape is dropping. There are people who are invested in constructing narratives so that they have communities behind them that they can now manipulate when it comes to some kind of, market consumption. You as a consumer, you've got to be wise here. And this is something that we talk about in literally every single episode. Be discerning. Understand when you are being manipulated in what you're watching. Understand when you are not the audience. Understand when somebody is trying to force you to become their audience. Because it's not a coincidence that, you're engaging with all of this relationship goals content and you start moving different. You start speaking different. You start saying things that are wild. Okay, you start having expectations of men and women, and they are realistic and unbelievable. It's because you're being manipulated.
Come on.
If there's one thing that I really want to drive home for a lot of sisters, stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. Please. This is where critical thinking comes in. Think about what you're consuming. Think about who you're consuming. What's the intention behind the narrative? Because there are some folks who have, very public relationships and they're very, transparent about their journeys, that are doing it because you can see there's something in their heart there to promote healthy, functioning relationships. There are others who are doing this because they know that they can manipulate you and they can actually raise capital off you. Not just capital in terms of, financial capital, but they actually want your minds, your hearts and your souls invested in these stories. Invested in these images. And this is why idols are so problematic. It means you become invested and you begin to even worship. And that is the real issue. There are people that are, using relationship goals as a function, or rather as a facilitator of worship,
to boost their own ego.
We go.
Very, very careful.
Shine your eye.
Go back to our conversation about little Mr. Derek Jackson, where we were talking about creators, influencers, and gurus. Be very careful if somebody preys on your pain. If somebody is trying to pull you into a community where the only thing everyone has in common and is bowing down to and is surrounded and underpinned by is past trauma, because trauma is a hell of a bonding force.
That's really bondage. That's your bounce.
A hell of a bonding force. A lot of people are not living what it is they are saying because they know what they are saying is what's keeping you there. What they're living is what would drive you away. So they would not show you how they live. However, they are living in a way that prospers them. They're talking in a way that is killing you. Be very careful, because a lot of people do not drink the poison that they're dishing out.
Come on.
They don't. And I can be very honest with you in saying, as somebody who's into production, media, stuff like that, it is easy for someone to get on a microphone here and not take the medicine that they administer. That's because they know it's poison. Every time we come on this podcast, let me just be transparent. We have been very challenged by some of the things that come out of our own mouths.
Bruh, sometimes we'll be having a tough time and have to go listen to one of our episodes, be like, damn.
And now, because we said it, we have to do it. Because if we're living contrary to the things that we say, we are hypocrites. And also we are pushing people down a road that we are not willing to go down. And whilst the things that we say are quite healthy, I'd like to think, the reason why we know what to say is because we've experienced what we say. And if we haven't yet, then we're going to go down that road. However, there are a lot of people who will tell you to do things which they have not done, or tell you to stay somewhere that they have left. A lot of people have created podcasts around breakups, around pain, around tragedy, but they're not there anymore. But they know that's where you are. And they would like to keep you there because where you are, you're vulnerable. You need someone, and they get to be that someone, right? Be careful, because a lot of gurus, and unfortunately, and this could be in any lane, right? And this is issues sometimes with coaches, gurus, experts. They don't want you to get healed. They don't want you to become an expert because you won't need them anymore. and they would rather hold the place than to see you flourish. Be careful. Be very careful. Jeez. That's all I'm gonna say.
There are people capitalizing on your pain.
It's predatory.
It's really predatory. They're not trying to help you graduate. That was what was literally on my mind. Because there's, with the TMS podcast, right? Our vision, our aim is, we don't want you to want us anymore, if that makes sense. There will come a time
we don't need you to need us.
We are like, TMS is so much bigger than us and our faces. Big as much time. As, you know, we come on here looking pretty and cute and whatnot, you know, we try. TMS is not TMS without the people.
Yes.
And we want TMS to stand the test of time and the test of people. Be wary the folks that are building things that are precipiced upon them when they are the rock on which the thing stands. Hey, you already have seen that people are useless. Relationships are flying left, right.
Terrible.
Fam,
we are terrible.
Your vision needs to be built on something that is not made from you. Yeah. And if everything they have built is literally around them, everything that they say and not necessarily what they do, everything that they say, cough Kevin Samuels, everything that they say but do not do. Okay, that's even, do you know what? I think we should definitely give like a really quick list of things to watch out for when it comes to relationship goals and when it comes to just generally like predatory content.
Yeah.
How do sisters avoid it? How can they be, you know, wiser when they're consuming content? And how can they make the decision in a careful, considered and measured way to actually consume? Like, how do they go about it? Because then there's also the argument of some folks are like, no, we got to listen to this content to make sure that we know what exactly predatory, you know, toxic behavior and all that.
Are you mad? It's like people that tell me I need to go through something painful so that I can gain wisdom. Are you sick?
I don't ever want it. I will never say that prayer. I can tell you that. For free.
God break me.
What?
God forbid. God humble me. I think not.
Do you know what it's like to have the creator of the universe humble you?
Why don't you humble yourself?
That in fact, that's
why don't you realize that
that's are broken? Command. That's a command. The Lord said, "Humble yourself before I get there." Because when I get there,
begging for struggle. Oh, God forbid. Anyway, back to the question at hand. Yeah.
Bro, how do we avoid them?
How do we avoid it? Okay, 1, does this person live what they say? Right? Do they take their own advice? 2, what is the heart of this person? I know you can't know a person fully through a computer screen 100%, but you know when someone gives you a bad vibe, your intuition, something's off, okay? And be careful when doing this, because sometimes you also have to be self-aware enough to inspect issues within you that are making you feel that. Yeah. So if you listen to someone, it's like you feel these feelings of maybe jealousy and comparison, that's a you issue, baby. But if you're listening to someone and you're like, why do I feel like you think you're better than me or better than most people? Put that content aside, right? Somebody else needs to go pick up that one, okay? What is the heart of this person? Number 2, has this person, and it goes back to point number 1, do they live what they say? But has this person passed through what they're talking about and succeeded at it, or are they currently in the process of doing it? Don't listen to people who position themselves as experts on something that they are very much novices or beginners or not even entered into. Do you get what I mean? So that's another red flag, I would say. If you're not doing it, why are you advising me on it, kind of thing? Or if you haven't done it, why are you advising me on it? Another thing about, I think, I would highlight in terms of predatory behavior is the thing this person is doing, does it add value to you, or is it just profitable for them? Just think about it, right? Like, for example, relationship channels that have a lot of prank videos. Why? Not because it's providing entertainment for someone.
Courtney,
I get it.
I was hoping that we could do some
prank videos.
Prank videos, yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that to me. But it's not about the genre. Pranks can be funny. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. I think it's more so about when they start faking. When they start faking the pranks, right? Now you're just trying to take me for a fool. I don't like it. it's not even good. It's not even well constructed.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I would inspect what are the intentions behind the content. That's it. For me, it's all about intentionality. Something can still be off tune and it can still be, that didn't land quite right, or that missed. Do you know what I mean? But if your intention behind what you said, what you did is a pure heart, even if I might not understand it, even if it's just a pure heart, calm. It's not for me. But I wouldn't say you're somebody people shouldn't follow or that you're toxic. Do you get what I mean? I think a toxic creator is somebody who is doing this to boost their own ego and boost their own pride. Now, not every channel you're going to see this from, because not everyone is a person who talks directly to camera, for example, like I do on my channel, or like you do with your Optimize Me with Renee, which you should subscribe to, right? I think it's different when you've got someone like Shonda Rhimes or Issa Rae who stands behind cameras. Do you get what I mean? Like constructing a story. You don't know where that person's heart is, but you love their content because it's providing you with entertainment. Yeah. So I would even say, even if you don't know whether someone is toxic or not, because we're not doing this episode to make you suspicious of creators. Do you get what I mean? Or to make you suspicious of the content that you consume. Absolutely not. Freely consume and be entertained by the plethora of amazing content that is on the digital in the digital space. However, step back and ask yourself, how am I using this content, and what influence is this content having on my life? That's all I would say. Does this make me feel belittled? Does it make me feel discouraged? Does it make me feel as though what I am doing is not enough, like I am not enough? Does it make me hostile towards the actual people who are in my real life? Does it make me despise the things that I have? Or does it inspire me? Does it give me education? Does it actually, entertain me? It makes me laugh. It fills up my time. But do I leave feeling like my soul has been depleted? Ask yourself, what is my response to the content that I am watching? Because even good content can be bad for you. Yeah. Right? You might not need to be watching all the wedding videos right now, sis, because your head might not be in the right space.
Bro, you ain't even been on a date in like 6 months.
And what are your feelings towards the fact that you haven't been on a date in 6 months? You get what I mean? So if you're feeling like, I haven't been on a date, because Valentine's Day is coming up, yeah? So I haven't been on a date in 6 months. Haven't been in a relationship in 5 years, whatever it might be. How do I feel towards that? If I'm feeling like it's kind of making me feel insecure, it's kind of making me feel inadequate, it's making me question my beauty, why am I going to go and watch all these pretty girls get ready to go on dates? It's not that the content is bad. It's not that the creator is bad. Yeah. It's just that this isn't good for me right now, And it takes a level of self-awareness, because it's easy to... Every creator, like you always says, has their audience. You just might not be their audience right now. Or even if you are their target audience, you just might not need to watch.
And that's okay.
That you can't control. Okay. You really cannot control what's created, but you can control how you consume and what you consume.
A lot of words today. I'm really enjoying it.
So take time to strategically and wisely consume based on your level of self-awareness, based on what your vision for your own life, but also based on your own compassion towards yourself. Don't expose yourself to something that you know is going to make you feel or be worse. Do you know what I mean? If you are super depressed, don't go and watch a video of someone who's also very depressed and down in their dumps. Do you get what I mean? Like, surround yourself with some uplifting content, you know? If you're don't go and watch a sad film. Do you get what I mean? Like, just don't go and make it worse.
Yeah, you know them ones where you put on, Drake's album,
you
Take
get what
Care.
I mean? Like, I'm here listening to all the slow songs. If you're heartbroken, don't now go and put on loads of heartbreak music. It has its time and its period. But if you are trying to move on from that place and you have a desire to move on or to heal or to whatever, expose yourself to content that will aid in that reparation, in that healing. Don't go and derail yourself. If you are somebody who you idolize relationships, a lot is all you think about. All you think about is, when am I going to get married? When am I going to have kids? Oh my God, everyone is getting married. I'm starting to feel jealous. I'm starting to feel like there's something wrong with me. Why do you keep watching all of these wedding videos? Why do you keep following all these? Why are you following Bella Niger still? Stop it. It's not that the pages are bad. It's not good for you. Accept it. Be self-aware enough to accept it.
So good.
Yeah. How about you though? What are your content red flags?
Yeah. I think pretty much everything that you've said. I think the only thing I would add is some kind of clear line of accountability. All creators must have, and it doesn't necessarily need to be like flaunted online. It doesn't have to be, this is my accountability measure. This is my mentor. this is the person I've set up to be
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
But for example, I can use TMS as to illuminate the point. We're here talking about our experiences, about friendship and all of that good stuff, but we have a wider group of friends that we can actually go to and be like, yo, what did you think about that?
Yeah.
Or is it okay if we do this? Or like, what are your thoughts on this? So we have that wider accountability.
Yeah.
We also, you know, again, hi, we're Christians, we go to church, we have our pastors that we can
Yeah.
go to and talk about not just like the podcast itself, but also the content
Life.
that we actually share, life, all of that kind of stuff. Are we living up to what we are preaching?
This
We
is
have
it.
people that, you know, it's always good to have something or someone to show the standard back
Yeah.
at you, because for a lot of like creators and just people in general, sometimes we can stray so far down in pursuit of the vision that we lose sight of the vision itself. And we need not just ourselves to remind us, we need somebody else to remind
100%.
us and to show us that we're actually on the right path, or maybe we veered slightly adjacent,
Yeah.
or maybe we're kind of off the path. When creators create the impression that they're above accountability, that's when it becomes a problem.
Ooh,
Any
that's
kind
such
of
a good point.
impression that there is no accountability whatsoever in
Yeah.
their life, any kind of assumption that they are the defining authority on a matter without references as well. If there's no kind of reference, if they have no accountability and no reference, it's a no from me, dog. It's a no from me. I think another like really clear example is like fitness industry,
Yeah.
right? There's some content creators that I watch and I'm like, yeah, you have accountability. You do your research.
Yeah.
You do your homework. Some of you will come and say to do all sorts of nonsense, do a headstand for 10 days in order to be in the best shape of your life. And I'm just like, but where did you get this from? So related to the accountability point, funnily enough, is how well researched is the information that they're giving you?
Yeah.
What are the examples that they're drawing from? And if it's not from real life, is it backed up? Like, is there a wealth of knowledge in this specific niche that I can go to? Are there other creators within that space that I can go to and hear similar things
Yeah.
in a different story?
Yeah.
So when I think of even like beauty industry, right? I am a lady of color. If I see one babe showing a particular color of foundation and she's like, oh, this is great for, you know, POC.
Yeah.
And all the other babes in the beauty industry that
This
are
is
similar color
trash.
said,
Nobody
this
in the
is
bed."
giving pastel. Okay, this is giving ash, Dusty, Casper.
Yeah.
It means, sis, I know you being paid by someone to say something, or your credibility dips.
Yeah.
So check for credibility. What are other credible voices saying on particular matters that you're listening into?
Yeah.
Thinking about like gossip channels as well, then I think you should avoid them totally, because I don't understand why anyone should find themselves on any of these channels where they just come together to talk about other people online.
Oh my God.
This is given,
You know you can be prosecuted for that. There
and there is an ongoing case.
Shout out to Cardi B actually, because that's a very me kind of move.
Absolutely.
I ain't go throw
Defamation
hands.
for
You
character.
can talk to my lawyers and I will sue you.
I will.
I don't care how much they charge you. I will take your house.
I will take everything.
Run your mouth again.
Let me see you try.
See you try.
Let me see you try. Coming together like, you know, spinsters to come and gossip about somebody online. Talking about somebody's marriage, talking about somebody's, you know, health concerns. It's things like, I'm just going to say it, things like the shade borough, yeah? The shade whatever, the shade insert, whatever you want to call it, the shade hive, the shade room, the shade house.
The shade house.
You know that it's shady because it's got shade inside it. But you think, and I like you know, sometimes we indulge in these things, right? When we come
100%.
across it. But if you following, that is a red flag in of itself. That if you're following any content that is created to speak badly about people, that is probably the biggest red flag for me. If all they do is talk down without uplifting, because there's a way that you can do it, right? There's a way that you can pull people out on their nonsense, which is
100%.
something that we do on this podcast all the time. And we pull ourselves on our own nonsense. There's been many times where we tell you about our shortcomings, our shortfalls. Listen, we're not perfect people, just to put that out there again, just so that you know.
We're really not.
Yo, we're your sisters, but like your real life sisters and brothers, we are not perfect. There are are things that we do that there are things that we do that we mess up, and there's things that we're going to do that we're going to mess 100%. Up on, and we're not above reproof, we're not above accountability, and we have those structures in place, and Lord knows we're going to continue building them, because as TMS grows bigger and bigger, that means the stakes are bigger and bigger. Ooh, which means that the stakes are high, and we're ready to dedicate ourselves. Listen, this glowing and growing journey is not just for you sisters, so it's for us too, as we're building this thing, okay? It's for us too. We're glowing and growing because we want to make sure that the things that we build do exactly what it says on the tin. This is a community we're building. We're not above accountability. We're not above reproach. There are, certain things that we're trying to do that require us to have higher levels of accountability, like we've spoken about even in our own glowing and growing journeys, the amount of times we felt like our character has been really pruned. We've gone through a real journey of spiritual and mental development. And it's not because of us, it's because of you guys. We're doing and investing in ourselves so we can invest in you. Not just take from you, as some content creators do. Not just take from others in order to give to you, because that's another thing that other people do. But they're doing a Robin Hood, where they're, defaming people's characters, breaking up people's families as a means of entertainment and sport for other people. We're not takers, we're givers. But in order to do that, we need to make sure that there's structures in place to allow us to invest in ourselves, to invest in you. So it's important that the content, sis, if we're going to do this together, we can't be riding with folks that are doing this kind of nonsense. You can't be expecting people like us. You can't be expecting all the wonderful and amazing content creators that you listen to, you engage with, you watch and love, to invest in you if you're not going to do the work outside of that to invest in yourself.
Come on.
The journey literally starts at the end of this podcast. Every single podcast episode you listen to, the journey begins at the end. Many of you think that you listen to this podcast and think, I feel amazing and empowered, and we want you to feel that way. We love that for you, sis. But the moment that this podcast episode ends, it's on you. We upload an episode weekly, right?
Yes, we do. With as much effort.
We've
been here.
Yo, we've been putting in work, and we love what we do, but we've been putting in work. You need to match us now, baby. This ain't Monopoly, baby. This is poker. This is blackjack. This is blackjack. Okay, you gotta match us. Match that energy. Okay. Weekly, we put it out weekly on a Sunday morning. Many of you listen to it on a Sunday evening. Many of you listen to it on a Monday morning, and some of you early on in the week. Once you finish listening to this episode, you've got the rest of the week to enact it. You've got the rest of the week before the next episode comes. Then the next episode, clean it up. Pack it in. Stop indulging in this nonsense. Okay? You're consuming rubbish. Stop it. And once you have consumed... Listen, when we think of food, food is not just something that we do to it tastes nice. Food fuels us.
Yes.
In the same way that content fuels us. What is fueling you? What are you allowing to fuel you? Good. Don't just consume and be mindless about your consumption. Really think about what you're consuming. Consume well. And once you're finished consuming well, you gotta go. It means action, baby. That's the nature of fuel. We put fuel in cars. Cars need to go. Don't be... Listen... How many cars? Listening to all of these episodes and listening to content without doing something afterwards is like sitting on a full tank of gas and going nowhere.
Come on, that is such
Is your car broken?
Ooh, that is a word. You're so spot on. So even in the area of relationship goals, sis, take this week to really inspect, where are you putting false expectations on people? Where are you putting false expectations on yourself? Because a lot of us are forcing ourselves to show up as somebody we are not. Yet. Okay, what are the journey, or what are the things that you need to do to improve yourself as a sister, as a friend, as a partner, as a daughter? We always probe you with these episodes to become stronger in your community, but outline to yourself what needs to be done. What do I need to do, and start working on that this week. It could be, you know what, I need to start reevaluating my goals. I need to start pouring into me so that I can pour out for others. I need to actually, because some of y'all been pouring into yourself a little too much.
Oh, honey.
I need to start pouring into others.
The best way, honestly, the giving, that's something that, especially this year, we're so hot on. We are so hot on giving, because in this leveling up journey, it can be so me, invest in me, consume for me. But to what end?
Because
beyond you, there's other people in this world. And you're going to die. When you die,
sorry to tell you.
I'm sorry, in case you did not know. We need to give. Sometimes it's not about receiving. Sometimes it's not about investing in yourself. Sometimes it's about giving. And giving often gives the most exponential returns.
100%.
Okay?
100%.
Give.
Woo.
Follow us on Instagram, same handle @ToMySisterhood. Come and say hello to your wonderful sis, Miss @CD Boateng.
That's me.
And come and say hello to your wonderful sis over here @Renee Kapuku.
Yes, and wish her a massive happy birthday when Thursday rolls around. But sisters, we have loved having you around here. Okay, follow us on Twitter @ToMySisterhood as well. We hope you have an amazing week ahead of you. Go and smash those goals and
Let's
go
go
and get closer to that vision. Okay, we will see you next week. And as always, keep glowing and growing.